Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to be talking with you about the new Nevermore palette from Gourmande Girls. We're just going to go ahead and talk through some of the details, a little bit about some of the shades, all that fun stuff. So at the time that you are seeing this palette is already out, available on Gourmande Girls. You can use my discount code Maddie if you'd like to. It is affiliated. I do believe this palette, I think, is going to be around $54 to $55.99. I don't currently see a price point as I am filming this, but per some of their last palettes, that's the price I'm going to assume that it is going to be. And again, it is code eligible, so that is always awesome. Of course, use anybody's code. You don't have to use mine, but if you want to, I really, really do appreciate it. But let's go ahead and just first start off talking about this gorgeous palette. So this palette is kind of more your idea of a, I guess, inspiration of kind of Wednesday, a little bit of Edgar Allan Poe, kind of just a very lovely, interesting color story. Now, I have to admit, I am not an avid watcher of the Wednesday show. I do believe I watched most of the first season, but I don't know if I finished it, and I have not watched the second one. I know, judge me. Hopefully I'll find some time. Now that I'm actually thinking about it with this palette, I might actually check it out just to kind of see what I think, but I think they did this, Gourmande Girls and Doodles by the Bunny kicked it out of the park with this one, and the color story is a really stunning yet different one, and I really do like that. So I guess going along with that, let's go ahead and first talk about, so my first thoughts when I saw this palette is, for one, the biggest thing that does jump out to me is the shimmers. These are really good, and trust me, we are actually going to swatch the shimmers, talk about them one at a time. The mattes themselves, I'm not really going to talk about too much. I do feel like they are a standard formula for Gourmande Girls. I think that they really have such a solid matte formula, but I really personally do feel like that the shimmers and this, I feel like they're just getting better and better with every collection. When I first looked at this, as you might tend to know with me if you have watched my channel in the past, is I feel like I tend to stick to a level of normalcy where I have like deep, mid-tone, and light, and I do feel like this palette has that kind of. I feel like certain shades on my camera are looking a little darker than they are, and then certain are looking a little bit lighter than they are, which is kind of interesting, I guess. But I do really appreciate they really only have one really deep shade. They do have some mid-tone deep shades as well that I think also work really well, but I really do appreciate that this palette is kind of challenging me to step outside of my normal. I feel like I definitely have been seeing that lately with palettes, and I really am trying to, when I look at eyeshadow or makeup in general now, is how can I get to know it and see what I actually think about it. I feel like it's so easy to play with something once and you're like, I like this, I don't like this, you know, whatever, or like, you know, you stick with the tried and true, but you never really get to know it. And so I'm really trying to challenge myself to really get to know my palette. There will be multiple like tutorials, shorts, stuff like that coming up. I do only have one in this video just because I really wanted to just talk about kind of my thoughts about the palette. So that's basically what we were talking about. But in all, I do think it is a pretty interesting color story. I still am in that process of getting to know this palette, so my opinions might kind of change as we go along. But as I said, and as we'll do, the shimmers are going to be my favorite. So let's go ahead and roll into that next. All right, so what I'm thinking we will do is just kind of looking at the palette, go one shimmer at a time. I'm going to kind of give you my thoughts about each of the shimmers, what I kind of think, and then we'll go along with that. And as I previously said, we're not really going to talk about the mattes because I think that they're just already really good. So I don't really feel like it's anything that is different than what I've tried from them in the past to discuss. So let's go ahead and start off with, I'm going to feel bad and hurt the palette, with the title of the palette, which is Nevermore. This is going to be a super thick, shiny, very pigmented. The formula of this is so nice. Now, I don't necessarily ever want to, I guess we're going to compare, I guess, kind of to brands. And what I mean by that is in terms of really nice formulas. You can see this is a super nice shine. This reminds me a lot of like maybe a Danessa Myricks, which is quite impressive for the price point. Also, Titanium Foxes has had really nice formulas. This is just a very smooth, like I said, very pigmented, just stunner of a shade. I literally am in love with it. I will say though, a shade like this, because I tend to not wear a lot of super deep shimmers, is a bit of a struggle. We did play with it today though, so I'm happy that I was able to make it work. I literally have redone this look or a look similar to this like 5 times, trying to like figure out something. But again, as I was saying a minute ago, it really is about challenging myself and really not giving up is a big part of what I'm trying to do, especially with just anything, but makeup in general, is how can I make this work? How can I make this stunner of a shade like work for myself? So definitely love that one. Let's go ahead and continue on next. So we have Caramia, which I believe is also kind of a very Wednesday reference. I think it's more kind of what Addams Family reference. This one is what I love about this shade, and I'm kind of swatching it a bit more heavy, but I hope you can see there is this sheerness to it that I love because it is really great for popping onto your brow bone, inner part of the eye. I did do that in a short, which will already have been out at the time of you seeing this, but it has a really nice reflect and nice matte shimmer. I don't feel like you're really being able to see it, but there is some like peachy undertones into this as well. I just think it is a stunner of a shade. And like I said, I do appreciate that it is a bit more on that kind of sheer side, so you're able to layer it on top of other shades as well as add it to the inner corner of the eye. Jumping in with shadows, another gorgeous one. This one kind of feels like what I would assume is their traditional shimmer formula, which is of course super incredible, but it's just a very nice standard glowy shimmer. I don't know if this is the duochrome. I mean, to be honest, these all might be duochromes or trichromes. I'm not super great at that, but I think you can just tell it is a pretty shade. It has some like green, some like turquoise, some like silver. So I think it is a very versatile shade with this palette. Being that I did not say this is a 14 pan palette that only has 5 shimmers. I do appreciate that these shimmers are able to kind of work with a lot of your different shades. Let's go ahead and go next with the shade Lenore, which is flipping, a very kind of pink, but this is another kind of duochrome, trichrome situation. And I hope that you're able to see that. It is just stunning. I really love the pinky tones that it has in it. I think it is absolutely stunning. I did again use this in my shorts and I just love it. It's a very unique shade, I feel like, to this palette. And I really just love the reflect of like the kind of like pinky. It also has that kind of peachy tone, but I'd really say this one is a bit stronger of shade. And then last but not least, we're going to be talking about this stunner called Exquisite Beauty. And hopefully you can just even see on my finger here. This is such a stunning, rich green. It's, literally, again, one of my favorites, if not my favorite. I really tend to love greens, but I think this is a stunner. Let me know your thoughts of these like shimmer shades, but I think they really did it out of the park. I love this. I cannot wait to keep continuing that. I think that is mainly what I wanted to talk about. So let's go ahead, zoom on in a little bit, and we'll get started with the tutorial. All right, now that we are zoomed in a bit, for this look, I really, as you can see, kind of wanted to go more kind of purpley bluish. So I'm going to go ahead and take our shade Raven. And I am just taking that pretty tight, as tight as I can, underneath my lower lash line. And I'm going to take it about 2/3 of the way in. Then I'm just going to start winging it out. As you see, probably I'm going to do a very similar to how I tend to do a lot of my looks. It's just an easier way for me to test things out. All right, so I ran some underneath my lower lash line, and then I am just building it up into this outer corner. As you saw in the swatches, I am obsessed with this shade here. It is just, I mean, I don't even need to show you again, but it is seriously, it's just that good. But figuring out how to make it work was a bit interesting, but I actually really liked mixing it with this kind of green shade. I feel like I always struggle with deeper shimmers, but I just love them. I mean, this is such a stunning, thick, like rich, delicious shade. Seriously, absolutely gorgeous. I am going to go ahead and switch over to the bottom lash line. I'm going to take a little bit of some glitter glue. I'm just using the NYX one. And then I'm going to take literally the smallest brush ever. And I'm just going to drag that lightly underneath the lower lash line. So next up, I'm actually going to take the shade Shadows right here. I'm just going to use my finger and tap that into the front part of the eye. As you see, this look is really simple. I just realized we didn't even blend out our outer corner. I'll do that in a second. I'm getting ahead of myself, but this is just a super beautiful, kind of, to get into my colorblind eyes, turquoise, aqua beautifulness. And then to blend in the kind of green outer corner, I am just going to go in with the stunning Exquisite Beauty, which is this, again, just is so freaking smooth and metallic. And I'm just going to tap that between the two shades just to get that shimmer vibe that we want. And also that merriment of the two shades. I mean, seriously, the vibes are so vibing. And on a random, if you can see this, no, I did not dye my hair. Just a little foundation. If you ever have your hair down when you put on your makeup, I feel like it can happen so easy. I always put foundation on my hand and it just happens so often. Okay, let's go ahead and blend out our little outer corner moment. So I'm actually going to go ahead and use this beautiful shade called Little Storm Cloud, which is this blue. This is a very intense shade. I feel like it has a really good amount of pigmentation. It definitely does have, I would assume, some white in it. So you might have to be careful with blending. Mainly what I mean by saying that is it's not a negative. It's just going to be a very strong shade. So you might even see by putting it near the green, it almost kind of erases the green. So then what you'll need to do is go back, or I guess I shouldn't say erases, covers the green. So what you can always do, and we'll do in a second, is just take more of that other green shade just to help them to marry together. I am just going to go back in with our brush that we originally used with that deeper green shade just to kind of re-add in some depth. You can always take back that other brush. I think this might be a clean brush, but either way, just to create that bit of a more smooth transition between the shades. Okay, let me go apply some mascara and we'll be right back. And we have reached the end of today's video playing with the Nevermore palette. Honestly, I can say I do love this one a lot. It is a definite pretty one in my collection. And like I said, I really am appreciating that it is kind of challenging me to step outside of my normal and be creative, and it really is just so gorgeous. I love the vibe. I love how different it is kind of for a Halloween palette of what we would normally assume. But definitely let me know your thoughts down below. Please subscribe if you did enjoy this content. There will definitely be coming more on, I'll be doing some shorts, stuff like that. So definitely subscribe if you'd like to see that. I do have all my other socials linked down below if you'd like to follow me there as well. Hope you're having a great rest of your day, and I will see you in my next one. Okay, bye.